Hey everyone, welcome back. What's happening? Happy weekend to you. Thanks a lot for checking out the channel. Today's video, we're going to take a look at the current pair of breeding boa constrictors, my Paradigm male and my Keywest Het Sharp female. They're well on their way to courting and locking and hopefully making some babies that'll be born in July. That would be the earliest because you're looking at a 120-day gestation once ovulation happens, and here it is mid-March, or almost towards the end of March. We'll also take a look at the currently gravid hypomelanistic boa that I got from my friend Tom Crutchfield. I don't have a due date on her because I wasn't there to witness the ovulation, but judging by how she looks, sometime in the next couple of weeks for sure. So I'll be watching. What'll happen is she'll start cruising the cage looking for a place. She'll get really restless and she'll cruise the cage and she'll be looking for a place to place to have her live litter. A lot of times too, there'll be a waxy stool. They don't defecate the last several weeks at least of the gestation. It seems like she hasn't eaten in a while for one, but it's as if they don't want to deliver the litter prematurely, so they don't do any kind of urate drops or pooping or anything. So they will be a waxy stool most likely in the cage, and that's going to indicate that the birth is coming, usually within hours. So, all right, well, let's go ahead and take a look and see what we got going. This year, I only bred one pair. I'm giving some snakes the year off. This fall is going to be a whole different story. Got a lot of exciting things and new projects, and I'll share that with you in the future. But let's go ahead and see what's going on now. All right, so this is day 2 in a row of serious breeding behavior between my Paradigm male and my Keywest Het Sharp albino female. They produced a litter of babies last year. They were born in the middle of June. This girl definitely is a later breeder. I mean, we're talking the earliest would be July this year. It's a 120-day gestation once ovulation happens. I don't think they're locked yet. He's lined up his tail with hers, but she has to lift up her tail and allow him to finish the job. But we'll definitely going to get a lock out of this pairing this year again. So I'm just going to leave them be and let them do their thing. I was going to replace that paper towel with cage paper today. I took all the cypress mulch out and I was going to go back to cage paper for a little bit, especially during breeding. I don't want any foreign objects getting caught in any precarious places, if you know what I'm talking about. So you got to be careful. So that's why during breeding, I tend to opt for paper towels or U-line cage paper because it's just too much dust and debris, if you will, with cocoa husk and cypress mulch. Don't want anything getting caught up in the male or the female's vent. That could lead to complications. So that's the reason why my cages look like they do during breeding. So the male's tail is the one on the right. Very exciting. All right, well, we'll do another update as the time progresses, but I'm hoping I can catch an ovulation when it does happen. Usually she's going to have a pre-ovulation swell followed by the ovulation, but I don't want to get ahead of myself because today is only day 2 of this behavior. So we got a little ways to go, but I'm confident these two have done it before. And there really isn't any reason why she shouldn't produce again. So I think I'll come back when they're locked, but he's getting close here. Exciting stuff here. Boa breeding season 2025. That is a definite lock. That is a lock. Excellent. This girl's a late season breeder. She had her first litter last June 2024. I think it was June 13th. And this litter I would think is going to come sometime in July. Just got to wait for the ovulation. Mr. Paradigm Boy is doing his job. So I'm just going to leave them be and let them have some quiet time. Alright, they're definitely doing their thing here. I am about as sure as I can be that I'll be getting some babies out of this girl, hopefully in July. Once the job is done, the ovulation happens, we're looking at 120 days until babies. And let's see, I don't think they're locked. His tail usually has to be, they're not locked, but they've been locked before. This happens a lot. He just keeps lining up his tail and eventually she'll give in and they'll stay locked for a while. Temperatures are pretty good. The ambient temperature in the room here is 81, 64% humidity. Temperature on the hot side is about 89. The thing with breeding boas, you got to make sure that the male you don't want the sperm to be too warm. And what's too warm, I guess, I don't know. I mean, well over 90 degrees, I would say. And I try to run my hot spot at around 89, maybe 90. You want well-fertilized eggs. You do not want a slug. So a slug is an unfertilized egg. And the big problem with slugs is as the babies are all lined up in the mom, just picture like a line at the movie theater. Yeah, he's sliding his tail away. I don't think I'm bothering him at all, but no, he's going to try a different angle here. Sneaky Joe. Anyway, that's Paco. Paco is the paradigm male, but I was saying the babies are in a sac, right? And they've got their umbilical cord and they're kind of encapsulated in their own little sac, if you will. But the oxygen is kind of coming from mom. I'm not going to explain this too well, not being a scientist or what have you, but the oxygen flows through each baby. It'll go from one baby and just kind of flows all the way down through like all the babies, if you will. And if there's a slug in there, the slug is pretty dense and it's going to stop the oxygen, or at least hamper, slow the oxygen flow down to the baby who is next in line behind the slug. So a lot of times you'll have stillborn babies because they just didn't get enough oxygen if you have a large amount of slugs. So I've been pretty lucky over the years. I haven't had too many. Last year's litter between these two, I think I had 2 slugs. I'd have to look back at the video, but not a lot of them. So the other thing that can cause slugs is if the male shoots blanks, or he just doesn't have really good sperm. Slugs are a sign that the female did her job. She ovulated, she produced an egg, and the egg just didn't get fertilized for whatever reason, and therefore you just get this slug, which looks to me kind of like a I'm sure you've seen them before, but if you haven't, you can Google boa slugs. I'll see if I can throw a picture of one up here. They just kind of look like a peach, like this old, I don't know, like some kind of rotten piece of fruit or something. But they're very thick and dense, so you just don't want them because they can cause issues to the rest of the babies. But anyway, I'm going to back off, let these two kind of do their thing. We'll take a look upstairs here at the super hypo. I was told she's a super hypo. Now, I don't know that for a fact. We'll find out when the babies come out. She's pretty darn pregnant, though. If she's a super hypo, then all the babies that come out will be hypomelanistic, because the father of the litter was just a regular wild appearance. A normal-looking Colombian boa. When I say wild-looking, it's not a morph of any type. He wasn't het for anything, as far as I know, so they're just going to be, if she's a super, where both of her alleles are hypo, then anything you put her with is going to produce hypos. So if all the babies come out hypo, she's proven as a super or a dominant. If for some reason like half the litter looks like a normal Colombian boa, then she's not a super. But she's looking very gravid. And when she scoots to one side of the cage, I try to replace the paper towels. I mean, she's not defecating, she's not pooping, she's not dropping urates. She's just focusing on keeping her thermoregulation at a constant temperature, usually around anywhere between 86 and 88 degrees. So still don't like to bother her too much. I decided to get rid of all the cypress mulch because I think it's easier for her to get to the heat if there's not a bunch of substrate that she's got to wiggle her way through. And I also get nervous about things getting stuck in, like foreign objects getting stuck in delicate places. It looks nice to have cocoa husk, it looks nice to have cypress mulch, but either paper towels or U-line cage paper, it's a little bit more sanitary, and you have less of a chance, if any chance, of anything getting stuck. Because I've had a snake in the past that actually was a male, and he actually had a piece of substrate get stuck up in his cloaca, and it caused like an abscess on one of his hemipines. And luckily, the vet was able to use medication, and everything was okay. But he didn't have to have one of his privates cut off, or it didn't kill him. Just got to be really careful. So, in a captive situation, I opt to make it as sterile as possible. There's still a lot of remnants in this cage from earlier when I did have the substrate in here, but I don't like to handle them too much, at all. If they're pregnant, I don't like picking them up, taking them out. So the cages are going to look their worst during breeding. Pretty much any boa breeder will tell you that, because you don't want to mess with them too much. And if they're courting and breeding, you don't mess with them at all. You don't want to go change the water out and such, but you got to be really, really careful. You don't want to break their mojo. When the two below start to cage is dirty. It's from all my misting. When these two decide to take a break, I will take the male out and I'll put them in my my ARS rack. And I'll give them a small rat, let them chill for a couple of days, and I'm going to give her a jumbo rat. And then I'll wait about 3 days and put them back together again. and most likely within a week I'll have some poop and urates to clean up from both of them, but that's fine. They usually go in the corner and I'll just go in there and scoop it out. But I really don't do a lot of, I don't handle them other than taking the male out to let him have his food. I don't feed them in the cage together, it's just too risky. Smell of food in the air, so. All right, well, that is going to do it for today's video. Exciting stuff, exciting stuff. Once again, I have a little contest going. Naming the big Hypo boa and guessing the date and the number of babies she's going to have. I've already awarded one person who commented in the last video where you decided to call the big girl Sarah. Sarah the salmon. So that person is going to be getting a KG Constrictors t-shirt. I gotta get an email from you, buddy. You know who you are. Need your address and your t-shirt size, and we'll send that out to you. So anyway, that is going to do it for today. I hope everybody has a great rest of the weekend, and just keep enjoying your reptiles because they're pretty fascinating stuff.